Recently, I covered the timeline of my world. I showed the highlights of some important events in the past and how some ancient mobs came to be. But now we move away from that period of time for a while and continue our journey in the present. This is my old survival world, a place that has been lost in many ways. Today, I'm taking the first steps to reclaim it by completing a few challenges that I have never done before. Only then I will be allowed back to my old base. So let's get started. When I started this world some 2 years ago, I created a few rules to help me pace my progression. I didn't want to rush to the end game and suddenly lose interest, as this had happened before. So for the first year of gameplay, I took things slow and crafted a very personal world. I created characters, named locations, and even wrote history books to fill in my small library. But perhaps I've taken things too slowly to a point where I was hardly making any progress. I would walk around my base and see many incomplete builds. And every block I had to place felt like a monumental task. So as I reached the milestone of 1000 days, it finally got to me. I didn't feel like playing here anymore, and my attention moved elsewhere to a more simpler version of Minecraft, with far less distractions. Now, this world had already achieved something my older ones never did. So I knew I wasn't going to simply abandon it forever, but I needed a break. I started playing a version of InfDev to get to know the game's history a little better, and hopefully get some fresh ideas. Going back to those versions made me feel like a time traveler. I had this strange power of knowing what was coming in future versions, and this way I could explore this world in some unique ways. It didn't take me long to transform this whole time traveler feeling into actual lore, as I connected up those two worlds. And in doing so, I solved the problem. My InfDev world could be the one that I take things slow, as those versions have a slower pace by default. And here in the present, I can speed things up and I can finish all the big projects that have been in my mind for years. Both worlds were still focused on world building and storytelling, but each of them in their own unique ways. One is more focused on ancient history, drawing inspiration from Minecraft's own lore and development, and the other one more personal, more free, and even, sometimes, a bit more dramatic. So what am I waiting for? Let's get an elytra, a beacon, and build some farms to finish my base. Well, not yet. When I took a break from this world, I lost access to my base. there was this other rule I created at the time, and I feel I shouldn't just break it. We can do better than that. So, if I want to reclaim this world, I need to complete the game and do all the things I avoided doing for years. And for my first challenge, I'm starting over in an unexplored part of my world. I teleported myself about 3,000 blocks away from the spawn area, and I'll be trying to find my base in this wild terrain. My first challenge is to survive the wilderness. So I chose this village to spawn because I know that there is a pale garden forest around here somewhere. I have plans to use this new type of wood in some of my builds, and I think conquering the creaking forest will be a fun way to start off. The terrain was really difficult to traverse, and I was being extra careful at night. I made some leather boots to help me with the snow, and a shield to protect me from those skeletons. I spent the next few days wandering around, trying to make use of the flat terrain in front of me. I found 2 villages, collected a few items for tax purposes, and did some trading with the locals so I could craft myself a compass, as I had no intention of mining for redstone. The compass would help me find spawn and consequently my old base. The pale garden forest I found was squished between a birch forest, a dark oak forest, and a snowy mountain. As the area was not very friendly, I made a small base inside a dark oak tree. If I find myself in a tough situation, at least I had a place to run. Without some proper gear, the creaking can be deadly. While I stayed away from its reach while collecting some resin, I was really worried about the other hostile mobs that can also spawn in the pale garden forest. With a few close calls, I decided I had risked enough. I got what I needed, and it was time to go. Leaving that crazy terrain behind, I was feeling more confident than ever. The pale garden wasn't so tough after all. I went up this hill to check out this lava pool for whatever reason, and did not pay attention to this crazy baby zombie running towards me. Ironically, this is very similar to my first death in this world. Not the creeper part, I mean, but the fact that I got distracted and didn't realize the dangers around me. As I wasn't recording at the time, what you're seeing now is a recreation of that event to the best of my knowledge. I ended up falling in a hole with a lot of hostile mobs. All I remember was arrows flying over my head, and I panicked. I was forced inside the cave until eventually Skulk was blocking my way. As I was terrified of the warden, I decided to turn back and try to deal with those skeletons. But there were just too many of them. So one of my early ideas for this world was to play it by using different characters. And with every death, a new one would take their place. While initially this was just an excuse to change my skin every so often, I realized some deeper meaning in this. Things change fast, and before we notice it, we are a whole new person as well. This world should reflect that, not only in the blocks I place, but in the ways I play. With my first death, I left behind an incomplete castle in the mountains. And while I spent a long time working in the design of my base, the interior remained empty. There was nothing inside to be attached to yet. All my valuables were in a small cave nearby. Fast forward some 900 days, my journey to reclaim my old base didn't get off to a great start. And while somehow I was sent back to life, there were some side effects. I picked up my items and my dignity and continue my journey back home, paying a little more attention this time. I reached spawn the next day. With some hiccups along the way, it felt really nice to see some familiar places after so long. My base was right behind those mountains, but for now, they are still out of bounds. I'm not allowed to go there until I conquer other areas of my world. In the middle of this forest, there's a small hill I always wanted to build something on. This is where I'm going to be settling down for the next few days as I prepare to take back my kingdom. In my next challenge, I'll go deep underground to an ancient settlement full of riches. This is part 1 of a short series about reclaiming my old world. If you liked what you just saw, subscribe so you don't miss out the next episodes. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.